This upcoming weather pattern is going to be rocking with winter storms with one system, literally one after another, over the next couple of weeks as colder air continues to drain down. So we'll take a look at some of the temperature anomalies first and then track out each disturbance over the course of the next week or two. So let's take a look at the temperature anomalies this morning, and plenty of cold air continues to drain down from British Columbia up there into Alberta. Those temperatures are well below zero, filtering all the way into Montana. But yesterday we had record high temperatures there in Texas. Dallas hit 88 degrees. Huge difference today with that strong cold front. Now the highs are in the upper 40s, so a 40-degree drop further south, and that will only be the things of starts to come as plenty cold air continues to drain down, and it's all coming from that area up in the Yukon Territory that drains down from the northwest to the southeast. So we'll have this continuing to flow, continue to move through the rest of the weekend and into early next week, as we'll be tracking these disturbances that come off the west coast that move across the inland and tap into some of this colder air mass and just dump a lot of heavy snow and some ice. It's going to be filtering in a good part of the U.S. And as that colder air continues to drain down, you can see really frigid like conditions up there in Montana. But look what happens on Wednesday night heading into Thursday. Some of the really cold air mass drains all the way down further into the south central U.S., all the way down into the southern plains, filters into the Ohio Valley, as we'll be tracking these multiple disturbances. And even off the west coast here in California, plenty of atmospheric river events that come through. But look at all those deep purples and darker greens. That's plenty of colder air continuing to drain down. It tries to come back a little bit, but then it just has a reinforcing shot heading into next weekend with another blast of colder air coming down from the plains. And that just continues push off into the southeast. Even into Florida, we'll start getting to the action with below average anomalies far out west across the east coast once you track into your 17th time frame. And just when you thought it was over, yet another surge of colder air continues to drain down around the 20th time frame. We'll be watching another disturbance that's going to be moving across from west to east. So you can definitely see over the course of the next 2 weeks, and this is around the 21st, 22nd time frame. This is 2 weekends from now. Yes, plenty of cold air continues to drain down to make February a pretty memorable February with multiple winter storms that we're going to be tracking. So let's take a look at some of these winter storms, going forward. Yeah, we've got the one we're working with right now across the Northeast. We've had a couple inches, if not 4 inches at last count in New York City, a couple inches into the Boston region, and that is just things to come as we've got more snow and winter storms on the way. The next system we'll be tracking, the bigger system, is going to be coming in off the west coast down there into the southwest. There is another disturbance as we get into Monday night into Tuesday. We'll have a lot of lift associated with that ahead of it. So it should be a chilly rain further south, but then we'll likely see that transition to snow and kind of a freezing rain mix that moves across the middle of the country, the Ohio Valley, getting into the DC region, those areas across the Northeast. And look, we just have multiple disturbances one after another. Tuesday into Wednesday, that moves out. There's another system coming in for next weekend that moves across the central part of the U.S. and down up to the Ohio Valley, as the conveyor belt of storms just continue to pummel the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic as well as into the Northeast. That goes through the 17th of the month. And there you are once we get towards that 19th, as we'll have that reinforcing surge of colder air about the 20th time frame. We'll have yet another disturbance that each tracks even further south. And yes, we could be looking at some more icy mixed setup there in Oklahoma, portions of Texas, getting into Arkansas. You can see up here to this little vorticity really spinning up across to Kentucky, those areas in the mid-Atlantic region, getting into the Ohio Valley. So a very active time of just the conveyor belt of systems that continue to move across literally from west to east. So let's take a look at the surface map. This is your latest European guidance. Yes, we had that disturbance that went through the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic with all that ice in Pennsylvania. We had that transition to snow, if not some heavier snows, and it's still snowing pretty good this morning in and around the Boston region as that colder air continues to drain in. And as that moves out, then we'll be watching for another disturbance there as we head into that Monday night time frame coming from the southwest. So we should start to get kind of a chillier rain to move back into the picture for those areas into Texas as well as into Oklahoma. We'll have this series of clipper systems that come through the Montana region. There's areas in the Dakotas. Notice the 50 Arctic high pressure. That's that plenty of cold air, that Arctic air that's continued to drain down. So as we provide that lift mechanism, that's always going to overturn the atmosphere. So yes, we could be looking at a chillier rain in Texas and Oklahoma heading into Monday night into Tuesday, and then we'll transfer to that all snow up there in Kansas, into Iowa, back into Missouri, into southern Illinois. And this could set up a pretty heavy snowfall event for those areas into portions of Kentucky, into West Virginia, especially into the Virginia region, like say DC area, into Delaware. Those areas could get pounded with some pretty heavy snow heading into Tuesday night, going into Wednesday with more of a significant system. Could be over 6 inches easily, if not a foot of snow in areas. And that will continue to lift up to the northeast, heading into New Jersey, New York City again. We'll add more snow to those areas, back into Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. And then when that moves into the East Coast, then we have yet another disturbance that's trailing behind that one. So we should start to see more snow pick up back in the picture. This is your Wednesday, the February the 12th time frame in Colorado, back into Oklahoma as well as into Kansas. And notice that system goes just a little bit further south with more chilly rain there in Texas, but just an icy, wintry mix up in the Panhandle. Portions of Oklahoma should see a glazing to 1/10 of an inch, maybe even some 1/4 inch amounts in spots. But further north, it's just all heavy snow with those deeper, darker blues. And then Missouri back into Illinois. And yes, there's more snow moving into the Ohio Valley with the conveyor belt of systems. This is Wednesday night now, so we should see more heavy snow move back in the picture of Michigan, back into Indiana, and that continues to move on as well as into the northeast with more heavy snow and kind of a wintry mix around the mid-Atlantic and into New England. And look, this is Thursday morning, right? It continues to drain down. This is when you start to see a little bit of maybe a possible another disturbance moving in, not as strong, but should maybe see some light snowflakes, snow showers across Oklahoma. And then, yes, another atmospheric river event for California. And this could be Southern California with heavy rain, could be some flooding rains for them. You see snow flies into the Intermountain West. This is towards that 17th, 18th time frame. And then, yes, as we get a reinforcing shot of colder air towards so let me take you back. This is around the 14th and 15th. You can see there's just multiple disturbances, right? This is next weekend. So next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, boom, there's another system, right? Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, back into Pennsylvania, chillier rain further south, swings back on the backside of the kind of the wrap around moisture for your Monday, the February 17th, more heavy snow for Maine. And then that moves out, and then we have another system coming in around the 19th and 20th time frame. So you can see this is just one system after another, as it's a very active time frame. Could be looking at some more wintry mix probabilities in Oklahoma, portions of Arkansas, Missouri, back into Illinois again. Again, a chillier rain further south could be even more of a significant event building for your 20th time frame. That just only extends and amplifies as it moves into a deeper, darker low. 983, folks. That's a serious low pressure center potentially forming up there into the Ohio Valley, lift into the northeast as a very active time frame ahead. So there are some subtle differences on the latest GFS too, comparative to the European guidance. But let me show you what we're looking at here on the latest American model. Yeah, we've got more heavy snow that's this morning over Boston. We all know that. That's with that winter storm that's kind of winding down. There's a secondary system that's coming in off the southwest, providing that lift across Texas and Oklahoma for Monday into Tuesday afternoon. More snow for Kansas, back into Missouri, back into Illinois. And you can see we've had that conveyor belt of moisture, and then we could be looking at a more significant event with the guidance is really coming together across West Virginia in the DC region and Virginia, those areas into Delaware, Baltimore, back into, getting into those regions. That only extends into New Jersey. And then we have that second system that's trailing back behind that one, right? So we should be looking at more chilly rain for Texas, more of a wintry mix, icy mix further north, say Oklahoma City northbound. And then it should be just all snow there in Kansas and back into Nebraska, Iowa, back into Missouri. And yes, that also moves across northern Illinois, Indianapolis region, those areas across Michigan, Wisconsin. There's that other system. This is a new system that's actually kind of popping up with that colder air. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yes, more guidance, European and GFS now hinting at another possible mini disturbance with that more Arctic air filtering in could provide more lift with bringing more snow across Oklahoma into Arkansas and to Missouri. That would be Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. At the same time, we have that system coming in off the Southern California, right? With more heavy rain moving across that region as we transfer towards that Thursday into Valentine's Day. That only moves across the Intermountain West, produces more snow for next weekend into a lot of the same areas across Minnesota, Wisconsin, back into Kansas, into Nebraska, as well as into Missouri. So you can definitely see it's a very active time frame. Another one moving across the Ohio Valley into Pennsylvania, across New England, off the East Coast. And then there's that other system that comes in around the 20th time frame. Both global guidances are hinting at even this far out activity coming together again as we have a reinsurgence front that moves further south. So we could be looking at another wintry mix type setup there in Oklahoma, into Kansas, as well as into Missouri, back into Illinois. And that only continues to move up the East Coast into New England with more heavy snow for them. So the breakdown of where you could possibly see snow just over the next 2 weeks is this is pretty solid, folks. This is measurable snowfall over the next 2 weeks. This is, anywhere in red, basically 100%. You're going to actually see snow at least. Further south, obviously, the percentages go down. But yes, a good part of the lower 48 will be in that conveyor belt of systems that'll be tracking across. And here's the probability of actually 6 inches or higher. So there's a large area that could be potentially looking at a half a foot of snow, if not more at least. A good part of the Intermountain West, a good part of the Central Plains, those areas across the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic, and especially those areas into the Northeast with easily some double-digit totals, if not more. Some areas in, like, say, Boston could be looking at 2 feet or more in Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine. So it's a very active time frame. So we'll be breaking down each disturbance over the next couple of weeks on this channel. So, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch me next update. Why I protect you before and after the storm.